Hey there, my name is Susan Collins. I'm happy to be with you here today, and I'd like to talk with you about uncovering the mysteries of your past lives. Now, obviously, I've written a ton of books. I've never written one specifically on past lives, but in my journey as a dowser, I've certainly uncovered a lot of information and knowledge that has helped me in my shamanic journeys. And I've also traveled extensively, teaching dowsing in the Middle East, Japan, Italy, across North America, UK, and it's been my honor and pleasure to investigate some of the energies of the local places and the local people and the local timelines as I've traveled. So I have a PowerPoint show for you. If you bear with me, we will begin a slideshow. And I encourage you, if you've got some paper, a pen, a pendulum perhaps, and we can actually make notes as we go. There's a couple of ways to take this. One, you can just observe, watch the presentation, or you can actually go through some of these things with me. So it's your choice, and we'll have an opportunity to dowse along as we go, and we'll have time to practice. So let's begin. I've got to share my screen first. Let me go back. And welcome to the new technology. It always takes a bit of time to figure it out. Here we go. I'm going to share the screen. And I believe you should be sharing that now. Uncovering the mysteries of your past lives. So here we are. Why do we want to bother doing this? Why do we care about past lives? Well, hopefully it's to get useful information. Dowsing is not about a party game. This is not like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if I was Cleopatra or Abraham, which you often hear. Sometimes the information we get when we look into our past lives, a lot of people are Cleopatra and Abraham, and we can't all be that. I think we might carry the resonance or the frequencies or some wisdom of those individuals from the past. So it doesn't matter, right? As long as we're getting useful information. So we may need to resolve issues from the past life. I know for myself and for many of my clients, patterns seem to repeat in our lifetimes now. And when you look into it with dowsing, it seems to be a pattern that can repeat either from this life, from childhood or earlier years, or repeats through lifetimes. So we may need, if it's repeating, there's probably something there to resolve. So let's look at resolving that. Also, we want to recall the wisdom of the past. What did we know then that will be useful for us now? Like there's just as with the internet today, there's a ton of information out there, but what is useful? That's what we're looking for, the useful information. And why do we do these things? And it's really to be in service, to become an anchor for the planet, especially in these days when there's so much uncertainty. We want to become anchors for the planet, help ourselves, help other people. So who am I? Reverend Susan Collins. I'm a professional dowser. This is all I do. It's my only modality. My website is dowser.ca, and with my colleague Graham Gardner, we are internationaldowsers.ca. Oh, sorry, internationaldowsers.org. He's based in Scotland. I'm here in North America, and we combine work together to do the best that we can. I was also named Carrier of the Sacred Water by my colleague Doug Gray, White Eagle, who you see in this picture. And in addition to these things, I've also studied in other native traditions. This is many horses with a condor feather. It was an excellent day. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, I was fortunate to do an initiation with him. And I've studied in the Celtic tradition, the Kabbalistic tradition. And a few years ago, as I was ordained a metaphysical minister, so I am required by law to say my religion is metaphysics, and I do weddings, and it's a fun thing to do, I must say. So how did I get like this? When I was little, I was clairsentient. It was not fun, and although this is not me hiding under the chair, I did play in a chair, in a stool, upside down, and I cried a lot because I was afraid of the dark. I was afraid of the dark until I was 45. Not much fun. I had the whole corporate thing going on, and then I got sick with rheumatoid arthritis, 1982. Every speech I do, I tell the story, so if you've heard me speak, you know the story. I found dosing, and my hands were crippled for 23 years. I found dosing, and since 2005, I have not had to take drugs, which I was on, and my body is functional. So that's that to me, the power of dosing. My most recent book is Get Healthy with Dowsing, and I've documented this almost 40-year journey with some tips on that, but that's another talk. But what I did learn through all that time is that the autoimmune disorders can be the self, not recognizing the self. Who are we? Why are we here? And this ties into our journey today to look at past lives. And I wrote all these books along the way. Now there'll be handouts on this. Obviously, we're a virtual conference or a virtual presentation, but if you send me an email with past lives in the subject line to susan@dowser.ca, I will send you some handouts. Take notes anyway, because the things you hear and make a note of are the important things, but I will send you some stuff. So what is dosing? I used to say it was finding water and minerals. I now just say it's applied consciousness. We focus our minds like lasers. We set our intention and we apply that consciousness. And what do we do with that? We detect and transform energy. So the detection, that's the yes, no, is there. Do I have past lives? Yes or no. How many past lives? And we can go, is it 1, is it 2, is it 3? And we'll do that a little bit later. But we can also transform the energy. So earlier we spoke about transforming issues from past lives. This is how we do it, is with transformation of non-beneficial energy into beneficial, releasing non-beneficial things from the past. And we can communicate with all things and with all times. So it is, I like to say dosing is an app for the multiverse. And lately, as we learn more about quantum physics, this is not a quantum physics talk, but we know about the multiverse. We know that there are very likely beings, and some scientists say we are also simultaneous selves in the multiverse, but there does seem truly to be consciousness in other dimensions that interacts with ours. So with dosing, it's the app that you can communicate back and forth. I've often wondered, who am I? What am I communicating with? The answers are clear. I'm not crazy. There's something out there. So that's the exploration. And we communicate with all time. What are the tools? Very familiar, the pendulum, the bobber, L rods, and your hands. Like it's really, the tools are amplifying what the body already knows, the body system. So I invite you now, if you don't have a pendulum, just pick up your car keys or a necklace and ask your pendulum to show you yes, no answers. Pendulum show me yes, pendulum show me no. And then ask to see the signal. How does the pendulum move for disconnecting motion? For many people, it's the same as their no, or for maximizing motion. And for many people, that's the same as their yes. So the pendulum has only got a few types of movements. The answers depend on the questions you're asking. So know clearly, this is the focused mind. You have to know clearly what you are asking to get any useful information. So I go, for me, it's the dosing protocol. It's in all my books. I'll send you this as the handout, but here's what I do. I never pick up the pendulum and just start dosing. That to me, it would be like the phone, you dial a random number on the phone and you take advice from somebody who answers. Like, you wouldn't do that. So you want to get into a place that is accurate and safe and aligned with your highest spiritual principles. So that's what that does. We'll just do it briefly here. You connect with your balance your physical body, connect with your physical body. You connect with yourself, the intelligence of nature, the divine source, God, whatever you call that, and then your spirit team or guardian angels, whatever you call that. Forgiveness is a big one that I work with. I'm just reviewing these steps for you. You clear yourself of non-beneficial energies so that you are able to dose accurately, maximize your energy field, and then seek permission, like may I, can I, should I. We're familiar with those things. If you get a no on any of those, do not dose at that time. There's a reason we plug in may I, can I, should I. May is do I have permission? Can I? Do I have the ability? Should I? Is it in my karmic path? And particularly for dosing past lives, there's a lot of trickster energy potentially out there. There's a lot of things that pretend to be something that they are not. So you need to be right on your game, knowing that your dosing is accurate. And the best way I can suggest is by using a protocol such as this one. The dosing is the easy part. And then step 8 is create the ongoing energy matrix. This was my cell. It's an ongoing system. It's how I healed myself, basically, was creating an ongoing system of health. At the end of the session, don't forget to disconnect. That was something I had to learn the hard way. Don't, especially with past lives. It's like leaving the door open. Some people go around leaving portals open, leaving doors open, and this is a dangerous habit or accident because these energies can continue to come in and out of our dimension from the multiverse, and we don't want that necessarily, unless they're truly on our side. We thank the energies that we've worked with, and then communicating our results appropriately. So I have found in my life that often friends and family who don't understand really what I'm doing or what we do as dosers, they don't know what to make of it, and it can make people uncomfortable. So just be careful with that. So I'm planning to scare you a little bit with this. This is a heck of a topic. Past life. Be careful. Be careful. Are you ready for it? So we want to dose. Am I safe? This is a yes or no question. Should I dose the following information? I'm going to put up a lot of slides here that you can look at. Should I dose the following information? If you get a no, just put your pendulum down and take the notes. Should I simply observe? That's fine too. Should I dose this information later? You can say, oh, this is interesting. Let me do this later. Do I have enough psychic protection now? Again, I'm bringing in this, the right amount of fear. Don't freak out, but please be aware that this is not a party game. Don't be dosing if you've been drinking, for example. And is my dosing accurate? You can check now your low, medium, high, because you can go through a whole session and then realize that your dosing accuracy was very low. And if you get a funny answer, sometimes we find this, we're dosing along, getting answers, and then something is not quite right. And this is a good time to check how accurate is my dosing. So psychic protection, this woman thinks perhaps that she's got some psychic protection, but what she has is like a suntan on the beach. And what we really need is to invoke a much higher protection than that. So intelligent physical action plus intention equals miracles. So don't be smart about whatever you do. Don't drink and drive. Do a protocol before you dose. Same kind of thing. Sitting around thinking about something doesn't really help it. You got to do it. You need to maintain your sovereign being. Do the dosing protocol. Maintain your sovereign being, and stay conscious. Create triggers. For me, it's drinking a glass of water. There are various triggers that I use. So do something. When you start to feel wonky or fatigued or I don't know what's going on, have something, snap your fingers that brings you back into our space-time. Physical object is good for that. And don't forget protection while you're asleep. Things come at you in dreams. Your subconscious is like such a vulnerable thing. I sometimes say that we are juicy morsels for other dimensional energies to come in. So we don't want that. We want to get useful information. If we come in here with purpose and intent, I want to get useful information to resolve issues so I can help the planet, then we are more likely to get useful information, which is what we're looking for. So let's dose now. Is your past life energy active in your field? So that's a yes or no. And I think for a lot of people, yes, your past life energy will be active in your field. And you could ask at this point, is it my past life from this body, time stream, or my past life from other time stream bodies? Either is fine. Either is fine. It's good to know that beings exist in different frequencies. So when we start, we often talk about past lives in different body time streams. And because we know so much about the universe now. We know there are many different frequencies. We know there are 11 dimensions. This is something quantum physics has given us. Not that we understand them particularly. String theory, that's another talk. But there's consciousness. If you don't want to call it a being, there is consciousness, intelligent consciousness in different frequencies. And we attract and perceive what we resonate with. Think of the guitar string, you pling, and then other guitar strings pling too. So if we're always thinking something horrible, horrible things begin to resonate in that way. This is the non-beneficial energy magnet. We probably know people like that. Or we can think good things and resonate with beneficial energy. So create frequencies to attract what you seek. Universal laws. So this, to me, is a lovely kind of idea. Panpsychism is a word that's been coined recently, not by me. The view that consciousness is a universal feature of all things. And I think this must be true, although we must remember it is not human consciousness. It is consciousness. There's awareness. This is what we're interacting with as Dowsers as we travel through space-time, manipulating, detecting, transforming energy. We are interacting with the consciousness of other places, beings, times. And there's that 11 dimensions. Apparently that's a diagram. It's pretty hard to wrap your mind around 11 dimensions, but there it is. And recognize trickster energy. So if your gut tells you, you know, something's not right here, it's probably true. So you grab out your pendulum again and go through the protocol, am I safe? That's the biggest thing. I often use that when I go on any job. Am I safe? Is my client safe? Can we do this now? So train yourself to recognize trickster energy. And generally speaking, what you want to know is, are the energies beneficial, non-beneficial, or neutral? Those are the adjectives I use: beneficial, non-beneficial, neutral. It's not, is it negative, positive? Is it good or bad? But is it beneficial? And if it's for me, beneficial to me. If it's for my client, beneficial to a client. If it's for an animal, beneficial to an animal. The specific animal, a cat and a dog, will have different energy requirements. So know who or what you are dosing for. So in this case, we're uncovering the mysteries of our past lives. You might ask, is it beneficial for me at this time to pursue this line of questioning, to investigate this? And we'll see. We'll see. So let's find out. And how do we do that? So the first thing we might want to look at is which culture. Now, whatever culture you have been born into this time, or have moved into, or live in now, that may be the same, or it may be different from the culture of the past lives. And the key question is the lineage physical or energetic? So what is a physical lineage? This would be in this lifetime, your parents' DNA, your grandparents' DNA, the physical attributes that have been passed down to you, the cellular memory of different things. And it's, I think a lot can be passed down at a cellular level from generation to generation to generation. The other way to look at those is an energetic. And I often have clients who in their, it may be a past, maybe a dead ancestor. So it's like the old grandmother who, this client, this is a real example, the client couldn't keep money. And when we went in and looked, it was his old dead grandmother who always used to say, money is the root of all evil. So this was buried in the fellow's subconscious. So that's an example of something that you want to get rid of in order to have a healthy relationship with money. The other question to ask, is it linear time or multidimensional time? And again, if you think of our space-time reality, and we look at our history, and we have our planet, and we're comfortable with that. But if, on the other hand, we think about the multiverse and all the 11 dimensions, maybe there is multidimensional activity, not just time, but multiverse thing. With many of my clients, sometimes they say, I want to go home. And when we investigate that, where is home? It's off planet. So that's another story. So you want to find out, what is the thing that is troubling you, well, I'll just say this about that in this moment, that sometimes the clients who feel they really want to go home, we uncover that they are supposed to have a human experience and report back to the home world. Sounds weird. So what we say to them generally is, we dose for this, that you don't have to report back right now. Have the full human experience now, and then when you finish this one, then you can report back in whatever means is available at that time. So be a human, be in your body, in this timeline, and fully experience that. That's the best advice. But what else is going on out there? And what do I need to know now? So there's a multitude of stuff out there, probably multitudes of past lives. But in this moment, what is it I'm supposed to learn? So, it's like, give me the energy, give me the knowledge I can handle so I can integrate it. If too much comes in at one time, we can't integrate. Plus minus chart. This is always good to see the degree of influence that things are having. So in this case, we're asking, please show me the overall effect of my past lives on me at this time. And you'll notice on the left of that chart, it's a minus. So if it was a -10 influence, your past lives, that would not be a good thing. If it was a +10 influence, that could be taken as an excellent integration of past wisdom. So it's probably somewhere in between, or it could be a variable depending on what you're doing. There's a time for everything. There's a time to be fully human, and there's a time to access some of this other wisdom. So here's the fun part. And I don't normally put all the words up on the slide at once, but you can write it all down, take a photograph. So you go into your mind, am I permitted? Is it safe for me to dose this information at this time? And I'm going to read this out for you. So my past lives, where was I? Africa, Europe, Asia, North America, South America, Australia, Antarctica, off planet, or other. What's other? Hard to say. Could be a multi-dimensional place, but we always have other. That helps us discover things. It helps us discover new questions. Our dosing is only as good as the questions. Having other always helps us ask a better question. Oh, we didn't quite finish that. Let me go back. How many times? How many times was I there? Or how many times did I have that past life? So never, one, more than 5, more than 10, I'm still there. If you're dosing that you are still in a past life that is off planet, for example, then it probably would be healthy for you to come back and be in this time frame. So the healthiest thing we can do is be fully human in this time. And then when we choose, we can visit past lives and have past experiences. But be here now, as the late Baba Ram Dass used to say. And then when was I there? So that's the other thing. Like, how far back do you go? Was it the distant past? When were you there in this place? Distant past, recent past, now, still there, near future, distant future, or outside of time, or other. And we added outside of time to this because again, when we work with people and somebody puts up their hand and said, oh, my past life is outside of time. So we don't really know what that means. And that's the personal journey. All we can really do in a presentation like this is offer you questions for you to dose on your own. The protocol will help you dose safely. But this is a personal journey that you go on. And again, we ask that question, how many times? So it could be, like, there's multiples of everything here. Many people, many people dose many different lifetimes, places, times. So you might ask, what is the most important past life for me to investigate at this time? And you can list that. You can write this stuff down. make a list of 1 to 10, or let your pendulum guide you. Where should I begin? And sometimes you might begin at the most intense past life experience, or you might begin at a different one. I remember one of my first experiences on that. I remember, well, I'm not going to tell you that one. You'll have your own journey. It's a fascinating journey. It's a process. It's like a dream. It's a bit like dream interpretation. We get glimpses. For me, I see things as movies, or I get pictures. The hardest thing is to go blank. So you get this information, which you're accumulating now, and then you dose it, or you let yourself go completely blank and then see what the information that comes in. That's visionary detection. And that's kind of fun too. So looking at, again, at this multidimensional simultaneous self. So these are questions or things we've started noticing in the past few years that I invite you to dose now. Do I, say your own name, have a multi-dimensional self? Do I, say your own name, have a multi-dimensional self? And then tap your pendulum and then ask, do I, say your own name, have a simultaneous self? Do I have a simultaneous self? So that might be asking, well, what does that even mean? And again, we're not sure, except all this stuff points to multiverse activity. And so for the multiverse, I believe that the multiverse can interact with our dimensions in places of strong electromagnetic fluctuation. And we'll leave, well, that's all I'll say about that. However, what we're really interested in for your own personal health and well-being is to ask, is part of my energy still there in those lives? And I think a lot of people have some aspect, not the whole part, but some part of the psyche can, or subconscious, let's just call it that, can be still resonating or locked in to a multidimensional self, simultaneous self, some off-planet, not even our time stream. And this, it's like a distant heart beating. So if you ever have a feeling of something missing, or I want to go home, or I miss my family, even though you have your family around, like you're probably connecting at some level with a multidimensional simultaneous self, family from the multiverse. So to ask, is it beneficial to bring myself back? And we're not going to assume anything. Your first thought is, oh, of course, I want to come back. But, maybe, who knows? Perhaps for some of you who have a broader soul's purpose that spans lifetimes and dimensions, having part of you over there is useful. Or maybe you are already bringing back good information that's actually helping you. But the point is to know the difference. That's all we ask, what's going on. So the first question is part of my energy, this body back there. And the next question is the energy of those lives still active in my field, like is, old dead granny and all the rest of them, multiverse, whatever, are they hanging around in my field? And if you check that, and don't be afraid to do that, because it's good to know. There's no need to be afraid. We go in with a dosing protocol, and you may likely find that the energy of certainly something, past lives, something, is influencing you now. Of course, it's also future lives, which we're not really talking about, but the future lives can have as much influence as past lives. So future selves can be influencing us now, but I didn't put that into to look at. So if you've got all those energies of past lives active in your field now, is it beneficial to remove them? And this is a yes/no question for you. So you're making notes. Generally, don't worry too much. Just, is it beneficial to me? Are these energies beneficial, non-beneficial, or neutral? Some people have a lot of names for things. They call it this or that. I don't worry at all. I don't name things. I try to be generic. Don't worry, but is it beneficial to you, to your family, whatever. So you want to receive and integrate the information. And ask to receive the information you need at the appropriate rate. So what information do you need? It could be something about your health. It could be financial, it could be physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. But you want to receive the information at the appropriate rate, not have it all come crashing down into you. You also want to integrate it into your current life. So whatever wisdom is out there, it's not useful if you can't apply it to what you're doing now. So work on that. The other thing is to get your answers from all directions. And what do I mean by that? That's a metaphor for many things. So obviously from the physical directions that we look around, and then the metaphysical directions, so that even though we are these points of humanity in this moment, we are surrounded by energy. So look for answers and ask to receive proper information, useful information from all those places. So what was your past? So I look at your notes a little bit, and you can watch this tape again if you want, but what are there patterns in your past? I had a colleague once, and she told me that in this life, that her current partner, and in this life, her current partner had found her and taken her out of a pretty committed relationship. And then she said, "Oh, we dosed, that's happened 12 times. And I said to my colleague, what about that? Don't you get? So if you're looking at your past life and your past notes, your notes there, and you see, oh, this is a pattern that keeps repeating. Every lifetime I seem to be working on a particular issue. And we didn't cover issues so much, but you have an opportunity to look at the issues. This is something you can dose now. Is it the same issue in a similar issue? Let's say similar. Are similar issues in each lifetime repeating similar patterns as an opportunity for me to resolve them? So we talked earlier about resolving these issues. And we are going to use the dosing protocol just as we come to an end to resolve these things, to disconnect the frequency of non-beneficial energy. So what was your past? And we want to basically zero out the karmic debt, if you want to use that phrase, but be comfortable with who you were, what you were, acknowledge it. Whatever it is, don't be proud of it. Don't be ashamed of it. It just is. And what is your future? So useful information. You've been given some information about your past lives. What will you do this into the future? How will you handle that? What information will you take forward? What are the footsteps you will leave for your children? What steps will you take to get there? So everything is action-based. So we sit around, we think about it, but we need to take some action on that as well. So I would like now to do the dosing protocol. And I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and come back into the full screen. And I'm going to hold this up. And I could do it with a bobber, but a bobber is hard to see. All right, we are going to use the dosing protocol to disconnect non-beneficial energies. And I say in the name of God. So I'll just show you my motions. Back and forth is neutral. Clockwise is my yes. And counterclockwise is my no. I know that's hard for you to differentiate between. But trust me, the pendulum is moving. So I'll say in the name of God and as appropriate, whatever. And I'm going to go into that place where it actually is happening. And so you do your sigh. Some of you may notice that as you dose, as you do the protocol, you feel tired. Your brainwave frequencies are changing. You're going from beta, alpha, theta. So stay awake, but you'll feel that sometimes a little shiver in your spine. So I have to hold my hand up here. So we say in the name of God and as appropriate. We bring our attention to the folks watching the tape in the future. We're talking about the past. You are in the future. I am in the past, but it's all now. So we focus on the individuals in the future. So my pendulum is in neutral, and that's just me kind of casting ahead, best and highest good. So I have a little clockwise there. So I am seeing you. Alrighty. Is it appropriate for me to do this now? I get a yes. Okay, so we'll say in the name of God, or however you address the divine source, I ask to connect. I ask to connect. We ask to connect to our human bodies for our good health. We ask to connect with the divine source. We ask to connect with the intelligent and beneficial beings of nature. Individually, we ask to connect with our spirit teams as is most appropriate. Your guides, your angels, whatever you call them. I get a strong clockwise on that. Ask to connect with your spirit team. That's all we connect with. Now we're going to ask for the assistance of beneficial beings in resonance with the divine source, with you. Well, say your own name. And with your spirit team. We ask for the assistance of beneficial beings in resonance with me, the divine source, and my spirit team who can assist me, say your own name, gather accurate information to make good decisions, to take appropriate actions that result in successful ongoing outcomes. Get a strong clockwise on that. So we ask for help. So now forgiveness. Creator, forgive me, I forgive myself. Forgive us. We forgive ourselves. We forgive all those who've harmed us. We release them from our bodies, minds, and spirits. We ask all those who we have harmed to release us so we are free. I got a clockwise on that. If you can't forgive them, we hold those accountable who have harmed us. We are survivors. We've gone through life experiences. We hold those who harmed us accountable. That's a big one. And we ask for that on an ongoing basis. Okay, so now bringing your attention to your past lives. I have to put my hand down because my shoulder's getting sore. All right, I'm keeping my eyes closed though so I can do this. Think of your past lives. Look at your issues, even if you're not sure what they are. Taking into account all things known and unknown, we ask to disconnect the frequency of all non-beneficial energies associated with every aspect of your being, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, energetically, fluctuating, fractal. We ask to disconnect the frequency of all non-beneficial quantum connections and psychic cords. Disconnect all known, unknown, hidden, secret, stealth, disguised, non-beneficial energies. Disconnect in all dimensions, time frames, realities, and frequencies on an ongoing basis. Let that process continue as it does. That was step 4 of the protocol. We move into step 5 of the protocol. We ask to maximize the energies available to each of us so that we may recognize accurate information, so we may make good decisions to take appropriate actions that result in successful ongoing outcomes. We ask to maximize and retrieve as appropriate the information that is most useful for us now, so that we may go forward in our lives as healthy beings on this planet. on an ongoing basis. So I've got a clockwise on that. I'm just going to go back into my screen share, go back over there, and just finish off that protocol so you can see that. Connect to yourself, forgive yourself. This is like Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian tradition. Clear yourself of non-beneficial energies, maximize your energy field, seek permission to dowse. I do all of that every time. I always do the protocol before I dowse, and I do the protocol at least once a day. That's how I got healthy. The more you put into it, the more you get. Dowsing is the easy part. Create the ongoing energy matrix. So if you say ongoing as appropriate, then the energies continue to manifest most appropriately. Don't forget to disconnect, otherwise you drag all this stuff around with you. Thank the energies you've worked with, and then communicate your results appropriately. Now, what I thought we might do, because we have a bit of time, you've got a lot of information on mental information there. You've dosed, you've looked at different cultures, different timelines, different places, and I encourage you to go through your notes again, maybe watch the tape again, go through it and see what you can find. But I thought we might try a bit of a past life journey. And I've got a nice video coming up. The idea then would be to, whatever you want, but to gather useful information, but to disconnect any non-beneficial energies associated with every aspect of your being, and then to enhance the beneficial energies. Those are steps 4 and 5 on the protocol. So we're going to move into the journey, but before I do that, I just wanted to say who I am again, Susan Collins. You can find me on Facebook and YouTube, and don't forget to send me the email past life in the subject line. I'll send you some handouts. And we have a few minutes left. I'm going to spend a little bit of time, and I'll see if I'm guided to speak through this, but it is a opportunity to do a journey. So put your hand on your heart, take some deep breaths. And you breathe. And you breathe. Feel your shoulders. Feel your feet on the ground. You breathe. Let's go together into the journey lands. We can hold hands as we go. We can walk alone. We can be a group. We are safe. We feel the energy of each other. It is peaceful. It is calm. It's as if we've always been here. Look around. Notice what you see. You move through space and time. And notice a distant point. Even though we are human and we have human bodies, we are able to move through space and time into space. into a far distant point, into a light. We are safe. We look back over our shoulder. We can see where we've come from. We can see ourselves sitting. We know where our body is, and we will come back to it. Spread your arms. Spread your fingers. You can feel the wind. And it's flying. Like a bird. Like a fish. Like a thought. We are in time and we are timeless. As we go forward, we notice many points of light, but we notice that they are beings also. And it's like we're moving into the center of the circle. As we move into the center of the circle, we can look around at each of these beings that hold us. And it is peaceful. It is safe. We are as drops of water. We come together like water drops into a river, river into ocean. We are life. We are light. We are all things and responsible for all things. We are as the water flowing without end. Feel that peace. And I will leave you now to journey with the instruction to come back fully to your body when you are ready. You are love. You are light. You are absolute truth in its purest form. You are safe. I wish you peace on your journey.